Welcome to Pigskin Playpen. I'm your host, Judd, and my co host, Hammy, is already convinced he knows who's going to win the AFC North. To be honest, his prediction process involves a lot of treats, naps, and absolutely no game film. But to be fair, it might still be more accurate than some TV analysts. Now, today, we're going to be breaking down the Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, and Browns and see who really has what it takes to win one of the NFL's toughest divisions. Let's get after it. And again, welcome to Pigskin Playpen.
Oh, it's so good.
The Steelers didn't just make changes this offseason. They smashed the reset button. New head coach, new coordinators, Aaron Rodgers is back for a final run, and somehow Pittsburgh may have assembled one of the most dangerous win now rosters in the AFC. But is it enough to get back to the Super Bowl? Hey, let's dive in. The biggest story this offseason wasn't a player, it was a coach. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, their Steelers are starting their season without Mike Tomlin. And in comes Mike McCarthy, who brings over with him 180 career regular season victories, a Super Bowl championship, and McCarthy is now reunited with Rodgers. And if history tells us anything, those two know how to win together and lose together. And joining McCarthy is Brian Angelico, an offensive coordinator, while Patrick Graham takes over the league's most talented defense. But the Steelers weren't done there. Rodgers is back for what he says is his final Hall of Fame career season. And in 2025, Rodgers completed 327 passes for 3,322 yards, 24 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions, finishing with a 94.8 passer rating. Does this guy know he's 40? I'm sorry, who said this guy could play? Just saying. Just saying. Well, those aren't just vintage MVP numbers, but Rodgers protected the football exceptionally well and showed he still has plenty left in the tank. If he develops chemistry with this upgraded receiving core, this offense could become one of the AFC's biggest surprises. The Steelers made the biggest acquisition this year by acquiring Michael Pittman Jr. from the Indianapolis Colts this year. Pittman finished 2025 with 80 receptions, 784 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns. At 6'4", 223 pounds, Pittman gives Rodgers exactly what he loved, a big possession receiver who wins contested catches and moves the chain. Now you pair him up with DK Metcalf, one of the NFL's premier deep threats, and suddenly defenses have a serious problem at hand. But don't forget about Roman Wilson, who is projected to be Pittsburgh's starting slot receiver. If defenses key in on Metcalf and Pittman, Wilson could quietly become one of the biggest breakout players this year. Pittsburgh also added Rico Dowdle to strengthen that running back room. He joins Jalen Warren to give Mike McCarthy multiple options in the backfield. Pittsburgh also added Rico Dowdle to strengthen that running back room. He joins Jalen Warren to give Mike McCarthy multiple options in the backfield. Dowdle may not be a flashy signing, but he's a dependable runner who brings physicality and valuable depth. And while everyone's talking about Aaron Rodgers, let's not forget why the team wins football games. TJ Watt remains one of the NFL's premier pass rushers. Patrick Queen anchors the middle of that defense. Joey Porter Jr. continues to emerge as Pittsburgh's top corner. And somehow, Cameron Hayward continues to play like Father Time forgot where he lives. It's almost like the second coming of James Harrison. Just making sure James Harrison wasn't behind me because, that would be awkward. The Steelers' biggest strength is balance. They've got an experienced coaching staff, a future Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the deepest receiving corps that they've had in years, a physical running game, and a defense that's capable of taking over football games. If Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, he has a legitimate AFC championship potential. Maybe. But there are still concerns. Aaron Rodgers is 42. Can he hold up for an entire season? The offensive line still lacks proven depth, and replacing Mike Tomlin isn't something that happens overnight. Talent isn't a concern, but consistency under a new coaching staff will be. Now, my X factor is Roman Wilson. Everyone's focused on Rodgers, everyone's focused on DK Metcalf, and everyone else is focused on Michael Pittman Jr. That leaves Wilson with plenty of favorable matchups. If he takes the next step, Pittsburgh's offense becomes incredibly difficult to defend. This roster is built to win now. The Steelers didn't bring back Aaron Rodgers to finish second in the division. They hired Mike McCarthy to compete for championships. And if everything clicks, Pittsburgh could absolutely find itself playing deep into January. But if Rodgers shows his age, or the coaching transition takes longer than expected, this will be a long road for this team. And it may not end well for Aaron Rodgers. Next up in our AFC breakdown, we turn to Cleveland, where the Browns undertook a significant organizational reset across coaching, roster construction, and long-term planning. The Browns' new era begins with Todd Monken hired as head coach. Monken returns to Cleveland, previously serving as their team's offensive coordinator back in 2019. He brought Travis Switzer with him as offensive coordinator, while Mike Rutenberg will take over the defense, and Brian Storer leads the special teams. Now, Monken is expected to call the plays himself. Cleveland's offensive priority was clear: the offensive line. The Browns traded for Titus Howard from the Texans and signed Elgton Jenkins and Zion Johnson and re-signed Tevin Jenkins. And those weren't random signings. Cleveland brought in proven starters. Elgton Jenkins has started 90 plus NFL games. And in 2025, he earned a 72.5 PFF pass blocking grade, ranking among the league's better pass blocking centers. Titus Howard had started 80 plus career games and has experience at both guard and tackle. And Kevin Jenkins finished last season with a 72.9 PFF grade, moving into the starting lineup of the year. Then Cleveland doubled down in the draft by selecting Spencer Fano, ninth overall, followed by Austin Barber and Parker Brailsford. This isn't just a simple upgrade. It's an entire rebuild of the offensive line. And not only that, the Browns are attacking the receiver room. With their first pick in the 2025 draft, they selected Casey Concepcion after posting 80 receptions, 1,100 yards receiving, and 9 touchdowns in his final season with Texas A&M, while adding production as a return specialist. In the second round, Denzel Boston finished his final season at Washington with 60 plus catches, over 800 receiving yards, and 9 touchdowns, establishing himself as one of the better red zone receivers in college football. Cleveland also signed Tylan Wallace, who has averaged more than 20 yards per reception during stretches in his NFL career, while contributing heavily on special teams. But none of these additions matter unless somebody is getting them the football. In Cleveland, there's a huge quarterback competition between Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. And that battle could determine the Browns' entire 2026 season. The Cincinnati Bengals enter the 2026 season with one simple objective: stop wasting Burrow's prime. Because when you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown on the same offense, missing the playoffs is like owning a sports car and using it exclusively for going grocery shopping. Last season, Cincinnati's offense still featured plenty of firepower, but Burrow missed a significant portion of the year. He finished with 1,809 yards passing, while Joe Flacco added another 1,664 yards filling in. Despite the quarterback play, Jamar Chase still produced 1,412 yards receiving. T. Higgins added another 846 yards, and Chase Brown rushed for 1,019 yards. Brown also caught 69 passes, setting a franchise record for receptions by a running back. That means Cincinnati's offense isn't short on weapons. It needs a defense. Everything begins with Burrow. When Burrow is healthy, Cincinnati has one of the most dangerous passing attacks in football. He's accurate, calm under pressure, and has the confidence of someone who knows Jamar Chase inside and out, whether it's on the NFL level or collegiate level. Burrow and Chase basically play backyard football in the NFL. Hey, Jamar, go down there somewhere. What route? Yes. That's it. There's nothing else there. They got it made. In the shade. Chase remains the centerpiece after another massive season. T. Higgins gives Cincinnati one of the league's best second receivers, and Andre Isovas is expected to remain the third receiver, while Mike Gesicki and Drew Sample give options at tight end. Here's the thing. I haven't even gotten to Chase Brown yet. Brown's 1,019 yards rushing, 69 receptions, and 437 receiving yards last season showed that he is more than just a traditional running back. He can run in between the tackles, catches the ball, and create mismatches. So basically, Chase Brown does a little bit of everything, which is convenient because at times the Bengals offensive line has also asked Burrow to do a little bit of everything, including performing his own emergency medical evaluation. Joe Flacco returns as a backup quarterback, giving Cincinnati experience behind Burrow. Flacco may be older, but apparently nobody has informed his throwing arm. At this point, Flacco has been in the NFL so long, some of his rookie teammates probably used him in Madden as when they were 8. Huh. And here I did it probably when I was, well, we won't go there. The formula is straightforward. Protect Burrow. Feed Chase and Higgins and establish Brown early enough that opposing defenses can spend the entire afternoon playing too deep. Now we arrive at the time the Bengals fans have all been waiting for. Have they fixed the defense? Cincinnati's defense struggled badly for much of 2025 and previous years. The safety group is especially problematic, though, allowing a league worst 10.8 yards per target last year and missing tackles on 15.9% of its opportunities. These numbers are not ideal. When the opposing offenses throw towards your safeties and immediately start celebrating, you may have a problem. To Cincinnati's credit, the front office responded aggressively. It's about freaking time. The Bengals traded away their first-round pick to acquire three-time Pro Bowler defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence from the New York Giants. Lawrence enters the season with 341 career tackles, 40 tackles for a loss, 30 and a half sacks. They also signed veteran defensive tackle Jonathan Allen and edge rusher Boye Mafe and safeties Brian Cook and Kyle Duggar. This gives defensive coordinator Al Golden a completely rebuilt unit in the middle. Wonderful front seven. Now, Lawrence and Allen should make the Cincinnati much more difficult to run against, while creating a pass rush opportunities for Mafe, Miles Murphy, and Shamar Stewart. Now, the Bengals did lose Trey Hendrickson and Joseph Asai during the offseason, so replacing the edge production will be critical. Hendrickson had been the defense's most dependable pass rusher, and you don't replace that by simply saying, "Next man up," really loudly. Doesn't happen. Even if that's the mentality. Mafe and the younger edge defenders will have to deliver. In the secondary, Brian Cook and Kyle Duggar should bring experience and stability, while Dax Hill and DJ Turner headline the cornerback group. Rookie Takario Davis should also earn a role in the Cincinnati's defense, selecting him in the 3rd round. The Bengals drafted defensive end Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M in the 2nd round, and another piece to rebuild that pass rush. Now, the Bengals' biggest strengths, they look pretty obvious to me. It's the offense. It's your positional players. When you have players like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, Joe Burrow, you have an offense that will continually put up 30 points a game. And that's exactly what they have done. All they needed was a competent defense. And I think they may have gotten that. Now, the biggest concern remains Burrow's health and the offensive line's ability to protect him. Cincinnati's entire season changes if Burrow misses extended time. Flacco is an excellent veteran backup, but the Bengals are built to contend for a championship with Burrow, not to begin another episode of the Joe Flacco never-ending NFL experience. Jeez. Try to say that 3 times fast. Second concern right now is whether or not all the defensive additions, Lawrence, Mafe, Allen, Cook, Duggar, can all play together as a team. It may take some time in order for that defense to actually come up and work together, but it's possible. The Bengals don't need their defense to become the 85 Bears. They just need to stop making opposing quarterbacks look like the 1985 version of Dan Marino. Cincinnati begins their season at home against Tampa Bay before traveling to Houston and Pittsburgh. The Bengals also face Baltimore twice. Well, that makes sense because, they're in the same division. The Bengals will also host Pittsburgh on a Sunday night matchup and play Atlanta in Madrid during week 9. Their second meeting with Baltimore comes on New Year's Eve. The AFC North is not the type of division where you can sleep through September and wake up in October and say, all right, let's get serious. Are you kidding me? Because by then Baltimore may already have 6 wins. Pittsburgh will somehow be 4-2 despite averaging 9 offensive points. And Cleveland will be introducing its third starting quarterback. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. Or if you're a Bengals fan, you hope that happens because, that happens on a regular basis. At least that's the way it seemed. Now, taking that into consideration, my X factor for Cincinnati is Dexter Lawrence. Now, my X factor for the Cincinnati Bengals has to be Dexter Lawrence. The Bengals have spent years trying to build a defense supporting Burrow's offense. Lawrence gives them an elite interior presence and the ability to absorb double teams that can leave the outside open for either Boe Mafe or even Jonathan Allen to get through. If Lawrence plays at a Pro Bowl level and opens up the opportunity for Mafe, Cincinnati's defense could drastically jump. And if it doesn't, well, they traded the 10th overall pick for him. So Bengals fans can calmly and rationally discuss that on social media. Like that's going to happen. Calmly and rationally, that is. But I kid nonetheless. Nobody discusses anything calmly and rationally on social media. Well, no, really? Are you kidding me? That's a shocker. All right, I'm done. Now, my prediction for the Cincinnati Bengals is coming in at 10-7. winning the division, and going to the playoffs. This is exactly what the team is made and the defense is built for. I just hope that it doesn't take the defense that much time to come together. But from what I have seen so far this offseason, the Bengals have been doing everything right. And next up, let's head to Baltimore. The Ravens enter 2026 with a new era at hand. After moving on from John Harbaugh, Baltimore handed the keys to Jesse Minter, who now becomes just the fourth head coach in franchise history. Minter built one of the NFL's better defenses in recent years, but now he'll try to keep Baltimore among the AFC's elite. Lamar Jackson is still the engine that makes this offense move. Even while missing time in 2025, Lamar threw for 2,549 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, posting a 103.8 passer rating to boot. He also added 349 rushing yards and 2 scores. Now, if that's not proving that he's one of the league's most dangerous dual threat quarterbacks, I don't know. And then there's King Henry, who apparently still refuses to age. Similar to Paul Rudd. What the heck is that crap? Derrick Henry rushed for 1,595 yards, averaged 5.2 yards per carry, and punched in 16 touchdowns. Defenses know he's getting the ball, and yet they still struggle to stop him. And the passing game has its own star too. Recently extended, Zay Flowers is coming off another outstanding season with 86 receptions, 1,211 yards, and 5 touchdowns, giving him back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons and cementing himself as Lamar's number 1 wide receiver. On offense, Declan Doyle steps in as the offensive coordinator. His challenge is simple. Keep Baltimore's dominant running attack intact while continuing to build around Lamar's growth as a passer. Defensively, this team has plenty of stars. Roquan Smith led the team with 76 tackles, while Marlon Humphreys recorded 4 interceptions. And Kyle Hamilton continues to be one of the best versatile safeties in football. And with Minter's aggressive defensive philosophy, expect Baltimore to get back to playing fast and physical. Baltimore's strength is still its identity. This team finished with over 6,000 total offensive yards, including more than 1,800 yards rushing, and they're built to dominate the line of scrimmage. Few teams can match the physical style for 4 quarters. The biggest concern is generating enough plays through the air while opponents successfully contain the running game. The Ravens need another pass catchers to step up alongside Zay Flowers, especially against the AFC's elite defenses. Now, the X factor for this team, personal opinion, has to be Jesse Minter. If Jesse Minter can make the jump from outstanding defensive coordinator to a successful NFL head coach, if the defense returns to being one of the league's most disruptive units, while the offense continues to hum, Baltimore has every reason to believe it can compete for a Super Bowl. It just depends on how receptive the team is to Jesse Minter. Not to say that they haven't been. To my knowledge, they very much have been receptive to his coaching and his way, in his philosophy, coaching philosophy, that is. But it's still an issue nonetheless, because you may start great, but it doesn't matter how you start. Manage it. It all depends on how you finish. Now, I still expect the Ravens to be right in the mix in the AFC North race. They've got an MVP quarterback, a future Hall of Fame running back, and an emerging star receiver. And the defense is loaded with playmakers. If Mentor settles in for a head coaching role quickly, don't be surprised if Baltimore wins 11 or more games and is playing deep into January. But if they don't, expect them to have a quick exit. And now we get to the predictions. And I know before I get to my predictions, I know all you guys want to hear Hammy's predictions. I mean, let's face it, he's small, he's furry, he's cute, he has four legs, he licks everybody. I get it. But I digress. I will try to make this short and sweet so we can get to him. My prediction for the AFC North is the Cincinnati Bengals because it all this year it all comes down to continuity in coaching. And in the division, the Bengals have the most continuity there has been. And I understand that some of you are going to disagree with me on this, and I get it. However, with the Bengals addressing their deficiencies finally in this year regarding the defense, I believe that this is actually going to be their year. Their ceiling is going to be a 12-win season, and their floor is going to be around a 9-win season. But if it's anything, it has to be done this year. If not, Zach Taylor is gone. He would be the only person right now that would need to go if the Bengals don't make this year. So just giving you a heads up that this is my feeling, this is my opinion, and you're more than welcome to actually let me know in the comments, please, if you think I'm incorrect. And if you like the content, please like and subscribe. Please. In any case, Hammy, what's your prediction? And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching the episode. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next episode. And if you can, again, like and subscribe if you actually do like this. Listen, if you like my content, please take it easy. Have a great one.
It's so good.